Death Valley, the place where the hottest temperature on Earth was ever recorded at 134.1 degrees Fahrenheit back in 1913. Also, one of my personal favorite places in the United States. I'm going to take you on a 4-part series through this massive park to show you the beauty behind the dirt. Let's start at the beginning. There's some cows up in the road ahead. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Just looks weird. Cows in canyons. I'm from the mountains and I don't know. It just looks weird. There are multiple entrances into this park, but after a flash flood destroyed many of the roads in the park this past summer, traveling into and through the park was limited on this trip. Either way, you were either coming from Las Vegas or from California, and both drives are incredible. You end up driving through mountains, dying towns, and then ghost towns as you slowly lose service and signs of life. That's when you know you've made it to Death Valley. There are so many unique features in this park, and even over the course of a week I spent there, I only saw a fraction of the park due to road closures and not having a vehicle that can handle dirt roads. This park is the largest in the United States outside of the parks in Alaska, at 3.4 million acres. It's hard to conceptualize that number, but for some context, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to drive through the park in one direction. Perhaps the most photographed area in the park is the Mesquite Sand Dunes. The best time to visit the dunes is at sunrise or sunset, when the rising or setting sun paints the dunes and the surrounding mountains with beautiful glowing light. And if the weather is clear, this is a fantastic place to stargaze, laying in the sand. But just so you know, there are critters that live amongst the dunes, so never assume that you are alone. The dunes make you feel like you walked into another country, and you can freely climb, walk on, sit on, or sled down the dunes. Don't worry, the wind restores the dunes to their natural state, erasing the tracks that anyone had even been there the day before, and continuously shaping them into something new. The highest sand dune rises around 100 feet tall, which is nothing compared to the Star Dune in Colorado, which rises 750 feet. But I promise you, trying to walk up these smaller dunes is still quite the workout, and also so much fun. Everything is covered in sand. So way down there is the sand dunes where we were this morning. Is it tiny? I already know I'm gonna be immediately too hot, but I couldn't get out of the car unless I was warm, so this is what we're doing. A popular trail located near the Mesquite Sand Dunes is the Mosaic Canyon Trail. I had never heard of this hike until I got my trusty map at the park entrance. But let me tell you, this was the craziest hike I have ever done. Look at me, just casually walking, having no idea what I'm getting into. This is a reminder to do your research while you still have cell service. Don't be like me. Now keep in mind, this hike is by no means excessively challenging or anything. I just thought I was in for a normal hike, but I got a crazy adventure instead. This is so cool. So I know Death Valley doesn't have a lot going on in terms of wildlife and life in general, hence the name, but it is really nice with the colors. The rocks are called Mosaic Canyon breccia, which are natural rock fragments held together by a natural cement. This trail is 4 miles round trip, and on the map, you see areas marked Boulder Jam, Dry Fall Pass, 25-foot dry fall. I thought this was something I would be seeing along the way throughout the hike. I did not realize that these things were part of the hike. You can see where this is going now, huh? No trail markers again. Do we go to the right or to the left? Going left hasn't failed me yet, so we're going left. Also, it's happening. First stop on this trail, the Boulder Jam. there is a literal ginormous boulder blocking the entire trail. Then you see a small trail marker encouraging you to climb up and around the boulder. I was in disbelief, as I went early and I didn't have other hikers to follow, but the worn path showed me that it was time to climb. Now, for all you concerned parental types out there, let me just say that I do have an SOS button that I carry with me on all my hikes. I am hiking alone with no service, so it's important to be able to call for help if anything were to happen. Spoiler alert for this episode, I survived, but I just wanted to give everyone that peace of mind. Also, I use Google Maps to see my location and can see if I'm veering off the trail, as well as a map, a compass, bear spray, first aid, an emergency stranded kit, a backup battery, a flashlight, sunscreen, the will to live, and lots of water and protein. Now that I got that out of the way, back to the fun.
This hike is bonkers. It's for like the rock climber wannabes. I'm having way too much fun.
After the boulder jam, the trail really narrows and the rocks get bigger and slipperier. Is that a word? Slipperier? Anyways, I did not wear my grippy shoes, which was a mistake for this hike. It did make sliding down easier though.
I'm sure I looked as cool as I felt doing that. I did not wear my grippy shoes.
Then you reach a 20-foot dry fall that appears to end the trail. But nope, there is a faint path on the side of the trail that you walk up without too much difficulty, although it is very steep. This hike has so many points where you think the trail ends or that you got lost, but surprise, that's actually the trail.
Ooh, that is steep. I see why they blocked that section off. That is way too steep. Whew. This is a crazy hike.
The end of the trail is marked by rocks forming the word end, and an impassable 25-foot dry fall, which I'm not going to lie, kind of feels anticlimactic. Usually the end of a hike is marked by gorgeous viewpoints or some sort of resting place. Not this time. I got a really tall rock wall and the word end. So I guess it's time to turn back.
Am I doing it right? My question is, who the heck got up that thing? And what's at the top? I don't know.
Now the way back was incredible, as you were met with a bunch of natural slides. It's a lot more enjoyable going down than up.
That was literally like going down a slide. So much fun.
The nice part about filming is that I got to do everything twice. Once to set up the camera, and once for you guys. And I'm not gonna lie, I did a few extras just for me.
I clearly took a wrong turn. This hike is crazy. This is the craziest hike I've ever done. Not the coolest, the craziest. There's like no markers. Well, there's like minimal markers. You can't really see them. And there's a bunch of different like worn paths because everybody's gone in different routes and taken the wrong way. There's no clear signs or anything, so very easy to get lost. Real question though, how much does it cost to put up signs? Piece of wood with some wood burning in it? Just saying.
The trail is minimally marked by man-made rock piles called cairns, or rock pathways, or rock arrows pointing you in the right direction. The lack of bigger visible markers in the distance make this hike especially challenging. You often don't know if you're going the wrong way until you reach a steep drop-off or an impassable cliff. Anyways, I continued to slide all the way back to the car, meandering back through the narrows, over boulders, and down many rock slides on the craziest hike I've ever done, and perhaps one of the most memorable.
I kind of feel like a pro, guys.
Now, this hike should never be done if there is a chance of rain, because of the possibility of flash floods. And this hike should not be attempted in the summer months after 10 a.m. because of the heat. Also, know your limits. This hike does require quite a bit of scrambling, so listen to your body and make sure to be safe and to have fun.
That is a loud airplane. Maybe we'll get to see one later. Look at all the red and white. Look at me blending in.
Throughout many sections of this park, there is evidence of gold mining that took place throughout this desolate land. Gold mining in the United States really picked up back in 1849, drawing many people to California in search of gold. People would pack up their belongings, leave home, leaving behind their friends and family in search of precious metals. While few individuals struck it big, many were left wanting and searching in America's gold rush. In the 1880s to the early 1900s, Death Valley region was explored for gold and other metals.
This is really cool and spooky at the same time. It's like a ghost town.
Towns would quickly form and flourish with the successful hit of different ores. But just as quickly as they formed, the land would dry up and the towns would be abandoned as they moved on to different areas in search of more. Mining in Death Valley was especially difficult because of the lack of water, the difficult terrain to transport goods, and weather conditions. There were few successful and short-lived mining operations in Death Valley, but by 1915, all mining operations seemed to end as people moved on. Cans, cars, mining equipment, and the remnants of houses remained here in Death Valley, frozen in time. However, limited mining did continue in Death Valley throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s, and the last mine closed in 2005 for good. As you walk through these areas, you can't help but imagine what it must have been like to be here. The hope of striking big and enduring all the elements without a guarantee of anything in return for your efforts. It's crazy to imagine, as most of our world today has been explored. These people didn't know what they were getting into, but went anyways, hoping to change their lives one way or the other. I couldn't help but draw the parallel to my own journey. I packed up, left home, and set out, not exactly knowing what I'm looking for or what I'm going to find, if anything. But I'm taking the chance anyway. Remember to subscribe to follow along for part 2. Thank you for watching.
This isn't real. What is happening?